Kalispera. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm coming from Belgium, and I will have a short exposition on how we use hemp in food. This is the image we use to campaign in Belgium on hemp. We're also, like Mark Reinders already said, focusing on you can do everything with hemp. We still have to find out what we can't do with hemp. So we were promoting all kinds of products, but we have been focusing on food because in Belgium there was the only country in Europe where there was a specific legislation prohibiting the use of hemp in food, while there was already imported hemp food on the market. I will give a short overview of my speech. I will talk about the future of food. If we want to find out if hemp is a superfood, then we'll have to see if it matches in the newest trends and changes that are coming in foods. I will talk a little bit about nutritional facts, about the versatility of the use in the kitchen, the health aspects of hemp food, but also on agricultural facts. People more and more want to know what I'm eating, what effect does it have on the farmer's income, on the soil fertility and other things. And I will talk a little bit on legislation because we have a problem for growing hemp. We have a European legislation which is the same in all Europe, which facilitates us to buy and interchange seeds among European countries. But on food we have different legislations in every country on what is the THC content of this food, which is rather a pity because food producers don't produce only for small countries like Belgium, neither for France or Germany. Maybe a short introduction who I'm speaking for. I'm not a businessman. I'm working for a volunteer organization in Belgium. We are a small organization of 100 volunteers trying to awaken people on the question of sustainability in agriculture. And for us, it's very important to see what we see as sustainable, because a lot of businesses talk about people, planet, profit. They talk about making profit and without damaging social or ecological values. But for us, it's very difficult to put profit apart from people, apart from planet. We think that profit should be made in all aspects. We think that agriculture can give plus values, economical plus values, as well as social, ecological and cultural plus values. Apart from criticizing the mainstream agriculture, we do have some propositions on how this could be possible, and one of these propositions is hemp. We've been working for 10 years on the promotion of this, and now we can see that in Belgium we do have a lot of investors and companies which are involved in growing and processing hemp. I want to draw the broader picture on the future of food, what's happening in the food markets, what is happening on the consumer side, and the most important for us is the protein transition. There is also a trend for more local food. People are asking for more local food. People are also looking for more pure food, less processed food. There is this increase in gluten intolerance and a lot of food allergies. In Belgium, 1 in 100 people has a gluten problem. I heard that in New Zealand, 1 in every 10 persons has a problem with gluten. So that's an important trend to see. And then we have raw food. Maybe still a kind of a niche in the food market, but a very important trend. And if we see, even talking about these futuristic trends which are not yet tangible in all society, but we see that our big chefs of the restaurants are into these trends. I have a picture there of one of the biggest cooks in Belgium. He's cooking with hemp seeds. The protein transition, what is that? Protein transition for us, that's toward more local and vegetable proteins. That means if we are producing meat, we do have to do it with local feed, not with feed imported from deforested areas in Latin America, but with local protein crops. And preferably these protein crops We don't pass them through an animal to eat it, but we prepare it directly and we eat it vegetable. I have a graph there of the meat consumption in the US, because the US is known as one of the countries with a big meat consumption. You can see that the last years this consumption is diminishing. There is a trend that people are eating less food. This is not only because of the vegetarian people who don't eat meat. A lot of people eat less meat a week. And I have a graph at the right, and that's a list of countries with the increase in meat consumption per person. And the top of the graph is what everybody is speaking about, that there is a big increase in consumption of meat in some underdeveloped countries, which are developing, as they call it in economical terms, and consuming more meat. But the other part of the graph also is important. In a lot of wealthy countries, and it includes the European Union, people are consuming less meat. And we think this is a trend that could be stronger than the others. I had to conclude hemp as a protein source is really one of the best examples in this protein transition. It is used as a animal feed. The whole plant is used for cows, and the seeds are used for all kinds of animals. But if we see the graphs in Europe, more and more the hemp seed is used for human nutrition and less for animal nutrition. Another trend in food is local food. People are asking for more local food. People don't want to see all these trailers on the road with food coming from one part of Europe to the other end. Well, hemp is one of the only crops that is really grown in almost any climate, with a little exception of the very tropical climates in Central Africa and America. So hemp is a solution. It can be grown anywhere. It's even grown in Finland, where they hardly have any sun to ripen the seeds, but they have a variety that gives a good yield of hemp seed. Another question is pure food. I don't know if you see it at the right. I've got a piece of tofu there. People are less and less interested in food that is very processed. You can't recognize the soy in the tofu. And there is this trend, a gastronomic trend, in searching for the pure food, where you recognize what you're eating. Well, hemp can be used as such. The hemp seed, dehulled or not dehulled, can be used directly in the kitchen, and it's highly digestible even without processing, without cooking, without toasting. The gluten intolerance, well, hemp is gluten-free and there is no allergy until today known in hemp seed or hemp oil. Then the raw food. Raw food is not only about eating salad. You know, this pizza in the picture is a complete tasty pizza, but it's completely raw. That means that it's processed below 40 degrees centigrade in every step. It seems that this trend has some answers to problematic diseases in our modern society. There is still very little medical or scientific attention to it, but a lot of people cure themselves with raw food. And it is an ecological way of preparing food. You don't cook, you don't put a lot of energy in it. You eat the food plain, or you marinate it, you can dehydrate it, which uses energy but less than cooking. And hemp is a source of food that is preferably used cold. By heating it, it loses some of its positive ingredients. So for all these trends, hemp has a place. And some nutritional facts, and it's important to see that hemp can deliver us a lot of protein, minerals, which is very important. Our food today lacks minerals. Oils, mainly essential oils, are important, and cannabinoids. Here's an overview of the main characteristics of the shelled hemp seeds. These are shelled hemp seeds from Belgium, so they look like little nuts. They dehull them because it's a rather hard seed. Some people like to use it because if you use it in a salad, even if it's very greasy, it stays with a good bite. It's one of the only ingredients I know which always keeps this cracky bite, also if you prepare it in cake or anything. But the dehulled seed has more success in the market because it's very easy. You use it as a nut, and you use it in the food like that. Almost half of it is fat, 1/3 of it is protein, and it's a highly digestible form of protein. And there's a lot of ash, that means a lot of minerals in it, and a lot of fiber. You can see for the phosphorus, the magnesium, and the manganese, the iron, very important minerals. They can be found in very high doses in these health seeds. And the acid composition is very important. You have a good ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids. There is a lot of discussion on the omega-3 fatty acids and the advantages of the omega-3 fatty acids. But it seems that more important even is the relation between omega-3 and omega-6. And in hemp seeds, if one would only use the oil of hemp seed, that would be the perfect ratio to use these essential oils. Here's a comparison if you're interested in protein, if you're vegetarian or you want to replace your meat. Hulled hemp seed has a protein content almost as high as soybeans, higher than meat or any other food we know. But the soybeans, of course, we don't eat them. We eat the tofu, and less protein. Here also the protein compared, but this is the flour. They make flour from the hemp seeds to use in bakeries. You can't use it as a flour, but you have to use it as an additive because it contains a lot more protein than carbohydrates. But also here you see the high content in iron, and very interesting, the high content in folate and in fiber makes it a very good substitute for other gluten-free flours. But apart from that, it's a very versatile thing to use and a very new thing in the kitchen. We can use the oil, we can use the seed, we can also use the leaves, and all of these things have a very new taste, which is not present yet in the kitchen, and a new texture. So we were able to interest some big cooks who are looking for new things in the kitchen, and this is one of the things they developed, a chocolate dessert, and there they made a praline from the nuts, preparation with caramelization of sugar, and they used the essential oil of the leaves for the brain. Apart from that, since we have authorization in Belgium in 2009 to bring it on the market, lots of people are bringing more processed things on the market also. We have milk, we have vegetarian what do you call it, burgers, we have cookies. There are lots of things people are producing and are selling well. As to the health aspects, I will speak very briefly because none of these things can be put on the etiquette, as you know. Some studies are going on indicating us that there is some important positive health aspects of hemp seeds and oil because of the content of omega-3, and mainly because apart from omega-3 there is this gamma-linolenic acid present. It's a very rare essential oil which commonly is pressed from the pits of what do you call it, red berries. It's a very rare oil, but in hemp seed you have 2 to 4% of this gamma-linolenic acid present. And a lot of skin diseases, which are very difficult to treat nowadays, can be helped, and they think it's mainly because of the gamma-linolenic acid that it helps, even by using it as a food, not applying it. There is also an effect on the blood coagulation of hemp seed and oil, which is important to mention. It seems that the blood coagulation diminishes on using a lot of hemp seed, which has its advantages, but in some cases it could be important also to watch how much some people can eat from it. Then the leaves, which are mainly used in tea, they contain a lot of cannabidiol. Cannabidiol is a cannabinoid which resembles the THC, but it doesn't have the drug effect. And there's a very broad spectrum of action of this molecule. They're even using it now in clinical trials to stop breast cancer. It's used for Alzheimer's disease, Jakob-Creutzfeldt disease, and other things. It's present in the leaves if you drink the tea. There's a lot of silicium in the leaves, and the leaves also are antibacteriological. Now the tea is a product that's sold much less than the seeds and the oil. Some agricultural facts, very brief. For the farmer, it's a very easy crop to grow. It gives a good rotation. It's a kind of plant that does not exist in the range of common crops. So in any rotation, it's good to have hemp in between. It increases the soil fertility. The hemp field, sown as this, very dense, is like a little bit like a forest ecosystem. All the inner leaves don't get any light and they fall, and they enrich the soil with a lot of carbon. And the labor is very low, so the farmer only has to sow and then harvest it. There's some environmental facts. Eating hemp food implicates that you are not just respecting the biodiversity, you're enhancing the biodiversity. You're helping the climate change not to reduce CO2 exposure in the atmosphere, no, you're sequestering CO2. You're helping to use less pesticides. You're helping to increase soil fertility, which is very important. We're speaking a lot about desertification in the third world, but our soils, I'm speaking for Belgium, are desertificating also. So we have mineralized soils and all the organic matter is disappearing, and it's becoming a real problem. And apart from that, if you eat hemp seed, as Mark said, the fiber and the chips are processed in other products, and in all these processes, in all these products, energy savings in the processing or in the products themselves are realized. This is a little picture on the biodiversity, the effect of crops on the biodiversity. The ones on top have a negative impact, the ones on the right have a positive impact. So we see there the hemp, the ginseng, trees, and alfalfa have a positive impact on biodiversity. Then if you grow hemp, you harvest the seed for the nutrition, and you use the chips in building, then you have this picture on the carbon dioxide emission. You have like more or less 5 tons of CO2 per hectare that you sequestrate in these ships that will be buildings afterwards. But apart from that, in Belgium, 1 hectare of agricultural land produces more or less 10 tons of carbon dioxide, which you don't produce growing hemp. And then if you don't use bricks in your building but hemp, you save another 10, equaling more than 25 tons of CO2 per hectare. Then there is some legislation in most countries on the use of hemp in food, and that's because of concerns about THC or traces of THC in the food. In the field, we have this legislation in Europe that we have to have less than 0.2%, that's like 2,000 parts per million. In food, the rules are 1,000 or more times more strict. I listed here rules for Switzerland, US, Canada, Belgium, and Germany. It seems that in Switzerland they changed already, but you can see in every country they're using different figures. And they're applying them differently. In Germany, they are very strict, but they are not normations. They are only to monitor, can we stay below these points with our food? And we have problems really to find good machines and trustable measurements to be able to measure to that level. So in Belgium, they agreed on 5 and 10 ppm for the seeds and for the oil. And these are really safe levels, and all the foods now on the market are well below these levels. I'm missing the final slide to thank you, but I do thank you for attention.
Thank you.